We go now to Scott Perry of Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ambassador, thank you for being here. You're in an important position. I'm sure you're busy. You are the Secretary for Management, correct? Secretary for Management. Undersecretary.
Undersecretary for Management.
Yes, thank you for correction. Would you help a friend if a friend were in trouble?
Absolutely. Okay,
so I just want to point out for the record that that the Secretary had a hand in appointing 4 of the members of the ARB, and according to your previous testimony and answers to the Chairman, that you made recommendations regarding those positions or those potential appointees. No question regarding that. Do you read your emails when a crisis situation is occurring?
I read every email before I go home in the evening, sir.
All right, thank you. Should the State Department, accepting issues of national security or operational security or classified information, be generally transparent? Should the Department of State be generally transparent, accepting those issues?
Absolutely.
All right, and should Foreign Service or military service members have an expectation that the U.S. government is going to do everything it can to ensure their personal safety?
Absolutely.
So when did you know, based on solid intelligence, that the rhetoric your agency and the administration was telling the American people and the world was incorrect? When did you know that?
After the television talk shows.
Well, they went on for weeks, so can you be specific?
The information that Ambassador Rice used on those television talk shows was based on information provided.
Okay, so you're not going to be specific. I'm holding up, and I'm sure you won't recognize this. First of all, you're far away, with all due respect. But second of all, this is a transcribed copy of an email in which you are included, and it is as of 12:46, so 12:45 on the 12th. So a day later, in which Ansar al-Sharia is noted by Assistant Secretary Beth Jones. So at that point, if you're, per your testimony, you knew by that afternoon, since you read your emails at the end of each day to be sure, that you knew at that point. What did you do?
If I might, sir, Ansar al-Sharia, later a spokesperson from Ansar al-Sharia said they were responsible.
I understand that, but at that moment, that's later, but at that moment, you knew.
The next day they withdrew.
But at that moment, you knew. What did you do? What did you do? You're a manager. What did you personally do to set the ship straight on the talking points and the message that were going out to the American people and the world? What did you do?
I knew at that point that Ansar al-Sharia's spokesman had withdrawn that claim, and I am, as you said rightly, sir, I am a management officer at the State Department. When you get complex issues like responsibility
when the government of the country understands and recognizes it was a terrorist attack, and you already said in this committee hearing and this chair in this hour that you recognize it's a terrorist attack, and you don't do anything to change it.
The collectivity of the intelligence community concluded that what they concluded, and
that it's a terrorist attack, and for 3 weeks your administration, your department put out to the American people that it was not. It was a spontaneous eruption of a demonstration. Let me move on. Why must, you're a manager, again, you're a manager, so you can get things done, you're at a high level. Why must this committee transcribe? This is an email to you. It's not an email form. Why must we transcribe all the information that we get? Why can't we get it and get copies of it? We'll make the copies of it. Why can't we? Why must we subpoena it? Why aren't you forthcoming? You personally.
The chairman has already.
I'm asking you.
The chairman has already posed that question, and I've taken the question.
And what was your answer? What are you doing about it?
I'm taking the question back to the State Department, sir.
But you're in a position of managing. What are you going to do? Instead of taking the question, what are you going to do to answer it right now?
I'm telling you, sir, that I'm taking the question.
Listen. I don't want to point fingers, and it's been alleged here. I'm not here to point fingers, but I think it's abundantly clear after a year to the American people what's happening here. This administration and your department in particular are stonewalling. They don't want to give up the information. They have been doing that since this began. They actively misled at the time and continue to mislead now regarding the facts. We just want the fact. It's apparent that the information that came out regarding the talking points did not comport with the President's narrative, did not comport with the President's narrative in election time, with a President election looming, and so they had to be changed. That is apparent. It is also apparent that the administration continues to hide this fact from the American people. And with regard to Foreign Service officers, it's apparent that if that happens again, and it does not fit with the president's narrative, they will be left to be killed, sodomized, and have their bloody bodies dragged through the streets for all the world to see, instead of having this administration find out what really happened. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.